Good morning. It is 7:48 a.m. on Monday the 15th of May. In full disclosure, this is a second take. I was just doing my little video and I noticed a big old hunk of snot hanging out in my mustache, so that's pretty gross. But just a quick look around. You can't see the mountains we just came out of. They're just on the other side of these bushes here. But it's a beautiful morning. There's a little lake down there we just turned off and can't see. But it's been a really nice, pleasant morning so far, other than it is already warm. Don't have an exact temperature for you, but normally when I wake up, I put my rain jacket on just for a little bit of extra insulation and to cut the wind. And my legs are normally pretty chilly, but I just let those ride. And this morning it was awfully comfortable to just get right on out, which obviously was nice this morning, but I think it's going to be a pretty hot day. Got a 15-mile potential water carry. I say potential, that's according to the maps, there's no water for 15 miles, but according to some of the comments other hikers have been leaving, there's some seasonal streams in between. So here's to hoping those seasonal streams are still going. They do tend to dry up awfully quickly sometimes, so I've got enough water that I can make it if I need to, but I'm gonna be thirsty by the end, so it would be awfully nice to have a spot here and there. Kind of seems like on the trail there's always at least a peril or two that's your struggles for the day. You know, sometimes that's snow and ice and declining conditions when it gets warmer. Sometimes it's sun exposure, heat, incline, and a lack of water. And today seems to be like a lack of water and long water carry kind of day. So not necessarily my favorite, but I think that's just kind of how this stretch is. Honestly, I've been pretty fortunate with the timing of when I came through the desert, and a lot of the water carries that can be really long have not been because of seasonal water sources that have been on. So if I gotta suck it up and suffer for a few days, that's all right. It kind of feels like we're on the tail end of the desert here. We're about 570 miles in, 460, 470 in. We're gonna be at Tehachapi in 4 or 5 days, something like that, depending on how many miles we do each day. And from there, we just got one more resupply before Kennedy Meadows, which enters the Sierras. So still no decisions on whether I'm going straight into the Sierras and chancing it, roughing it, whatever you want to call it, or if I'm going to be flipping up. I'm going to kind of wait. I'm going to have all my gear ready to go. I'm stopping in Ridgecrest after Tehachapi. I was just conversing with my brother on that, making sure I had all the things that he needs to send me, so I can be prepared for the Sierras. And it's just all kind of interesting because there's no post office in the Sierras, and at Kennedy Meadows you can get stuff there, but you can't send stuff out. I'm going to be swapping up my, there's the lake. I'm going to be swapping up my backpack. And obviously I don't want to carry 2 backpacks, so I'll have to send this one out. So I need a post office, so we're doing that before we get there. So I'm getting all my Sierra gear, and then there's a very good chance that I'll just end up flipping up north and having all this gear that I don't need. And that's just kind of the way that it goes this year. I want to keep my options open, and that's the only way to do it. So we'll figure it out. So yesterday was fantastic. The morning climbs were a little bit difficult. It was kind of similar temperature-wise yesterday as today. So even though we started early, still a little bit of a sweaty morning. And then we made it into town. I got my PCT hang tag at the Vasquez Rocks Visitor Center. And then we went on into town and hung out for probably at least 3 hours at this Mexican restaurant. They had a buffet going on, and the boys were getting some drinks. We ran into Roadrunner and got to meet her boyfriend. They were hiking together today, and then they're doing Six Flags, or they were hiking together yesterday. They're doing Six Flags today, and then she's gonna hop back on the trail and do 3 miles this evening after the amusement park, and then she's gonna try and beat feet and catch up with us. But I think this road crossing that I'm coming up to within the next mile is where she hiked to yesterday, so she is a bit of ahead of us. And she's hiking 3 miles tonight, so best I can figure she'll be like 12 to 14 miles behind us, which isn't terrible. But yesterday was great, except I think we should have waited a little bit longer before hiking out of town. I was getting antsy and ready to go, so I'm as much to blame as anyone, but it was definitely pretty hot and pretty steep coming out. So looking ahead, I think we're going to do about between 20 and 25 miles, probably aiming for around 22, whatever the closest decent campsite is. But when you have these long water carries, sometimes you got to adjust a little bit. If there's a wet camp available that's doable, it's really nice, so you can make sure you start out good and hydrated the next morning. So we'll see how that goes, but we've got enough food to get into Tehachapi on the 20th. I'd like to get in on the 19th, but we'll make it either way. So that's the plan. I got a few boxes waiting for me in Tehachapi. Gonna swap my shoes out. I got a new pair of shorts. I got a hole in my shorts, so we'll see if Amazon can figure out how to deliver to a post office. The shorts weren't real expensive, so if not, it's not a huge deal. I'll pick some up somewhere else. But it would be nice to have shorts without a hole right in the butt. But black undies, black shorts, it's hardly noticeable. So it could definitely be worse. And yeah, so that's the plan looking forward. I'm gonna sign off here and beat feet as much as I can, try to get at least 10 miles before 10 a.m. because it's pretty and nice and calm as it is right now. I would imagine that a few hours from now, I'm gonna be sweaty and salty and gross and grimy and just wanting to sit still. So I'm gonna get the miles in while they're easy. So until next time. Good morning. It is Tuesday the 16th, 6:30 in the morning. Honestly, some days this is when I get started. Normally somewhere between 6 and 6:30, but we decided that with how hot it's been, and since we got the aqueduct coming up, which I'll talk about a little more in a second, to go ahead and start adjusting our schedule up and start waking up a little bit early, getting some more miles done while it's cool in the morning. It is a very comfortable temperature right now if I'm standing still, but moving even at 6:30 in the morning, I am starting to sweat a little bit. So we are definitely out of the alpine mountaintops and back down close to the desert floor. Not all the way down there, but we are much warmer than we were 4 or 5 days ago. That's for certain. So aqueduct, that is going to be Thursday morning for us, so that'd be the 18th. Didn't do a ton of miles yesterday. We kind of looked at the map, how many miles we had, and kind of game planned our next couple days in conjunction with when we wanted to do the aqueduct. So we were kind of in the middle where we could either push big miles and do it a day earlier, do it on Wednesday, or we could slow down just a touch and do the aqueduct a little more rested. And that's what we chose to do. We might have gone the other route, but we got somebody in our group, a Roadrunner, that's about half a day behind us, so that should hopefully give her a chance to catch up. So that's kind of the plan, which resulted in yesterday being remarkably easy. It was hot. There were some clouds in the morning, which were nice. The afternoon was pretty freaking toasty. It's crazy how much water I drink, and I think I should just be, peeing clear every 20 minutes. And that's not the case because I'm just sweating it all out. So it's definitely this week has, or at least the past 3 days or so, has been a reminder that we are in the desert despite it looking nice and lush and green. It's the desert, and gotta respect the sun, respect the heat, make sure you're staying hydrated, both with water as well as electrolytes, and taking care of yourself. So that's what we're doing, waking up an hour earlier. So waking up about 4:15, getting on the trail by 5 o'clock. I was actually the first one out, and now I'm either, oh, yep, looks like I'm the fourth one. You can see, not sure if you can see it, but there's River Dance in the orange and Beached right in front of him. I had to take a step off trail to do just a touch of brown blazing, or digging a cat hole, and I heard somebody pass me, but I didn't know who it was. Turns out it was Beached. There was another group where we camped that got out same time as us. We were originally entertaining the idea of making it a little bit further today or yesterday, because under 20 miles for this point in the trip is kind of soft, but with the aqueduct coming up, it just kind of made sense. We had about 60 miles and cut it into thirds, about 20 miles a day, and to Hikertown, which is the last water source before the aqueduct. And then there's a 17-mile completely exposed carry that we're gonna try to start at about 3 in the morning. So that's the game plan, and cutting into thirds just made sense, as opposed to trying to knock out like a couple of 30-mile days and then wake up at 2 a.m. to do the aqueduct. That sounded like a terrible time. So a little bit more relaxed these few days. I think we're all ready to stretch our legs a little bit. Now is just not the time. So I would guess after Tehachapi, we'll probably pick up the pace a bit. Might do a couple of big days with lighter packs at the end of this. After we do the aqueduct, there's another water source after the 17-mile water carry. There's another water source about 6 miles in that has camping. I think that's where we're gonna stay, and that leaves us 25 miles or so to Tehachapi. So we could either do that in one big day or leave ourselves just a few miles for that'd be Saturday morning if we split that into 2 days. But either way, we got that. Then we got Ridgecrest. Got all my Sierra stuff going to Ridgecrest because I'm gonna have to send some stuff out. There's no post office at Kennedy Meadows. You can get boxes, but you can't send anything out. So I'm gonna have to swap out this pack for my framed pack in Ridgecrest, and do that exchange there. That's just, I don't know, 50, 60 miles, something like that, before Kennedy Meadows South. So we are getting close to the Sierras. Should be there definitely in under 2 weeks. So at that point, we got a decision to make: flip, skip, or go right through. I think flipping's out of the question. A flip would be going up a certain ways and coming back southbound, so you're kind of flipping up and coming down. A skip would just be skipping that section of the trail. If I do that, every intention will be to touch the this is a weird fruit. I've seen a couple of them there. Not really sure what's going on with it, but it's kind of cool. So ADD brain, squirrel. But yeah, Kennedy Meadows, yeah, we'll have to decide. If I had to guess right now, I'd say we'll probably end up skipping, which isn't my first choice, but if safety is a issue going into the Sierras, which as of now it looks like it will be, both because of pack weight and how far you're going to have to carry, as well as just overall conditions. The first group in there was talking about recommending 2 ice axes and potentially a rope and anchors. And if it's that level of mountaineering, that is not in my wheelhouse and will not be occurring. But if it melts off a little bit, who knows? So we'll see. We're going to wait till we get to Kennedy Meadows, get all the information that we can, make the best informed decision that we can. But if I had to guess, I'd say 70-80% we'll end up skipping up to NorCal and coming back and hitting the Sierras at the very end. So, but that's a problem for another day. Today, we're trying to get about 12 miles in by 10 o'clock if we can. Try and get over half of the work done while it's not too terribly hot. And then we can just take our time, do a few miles at a time, go from water source to water source. We're on about a 9-mile water carry right now, which isn't bad, but there's more frequent water the second half of the day. So we'll probably just go water source to water source, hang out for an hour, walk for an hour, hang out for an hour, walk for an hour, drink as much water as we want, because we're in no hurry today, which I'm finding. Normally I'm always wanting to go, but when the sun's as hot as it is, I think it's in everybody's best interest to take it slow and respect that, at least for me. But I sweat a ton and I get dehydrated pretty easily because of this amount of sweat. So early miles, we're making it work one way or the other, and we're on the tail stretch now. Just a little bit more desert. We're going to be passing mile marker 500 today, so less than, or right around 200 miles of this desert left to go. So, all right, until next time.